First, I want to alert my dad, who's over here, that a minister friend of mine told me, one other time that I spoke, that no souls are saved after 20 minutes. So he's got to give me the heave-ho if I'm here longer than 20 minutes. So as you're probably aware, the Bills have been in the news quite a bit, even though their season's been over for 3 weeks. Marv retires, much to my chagrin, although it was probably time. You know, he was getting up in age, but I really enjoyed Marv. So he retires. Wade Phillips is hired. Doug Flutie is possibly coming to Buffalo. Yesterday they hired two line coaches, one defense, one offense. And also Todd Collins is still making the news, if you can believe it, for an awful season that he had. In fact, the U.S. government has been talking to the Bills about Todd Collins. They met with the Bills last week, and a member of the Clinton administration went to Rich Stadium because they want Todd Collins linked with President Clinton, because Todd's the only one that can overthrow Saddam Hussein. Poor Todd. He's had a rough 6 months or so. But he's not the only character that the Bills have had over the years. I started covering the team in 1986, and that was the year that Hank Bulla was the coach. Marv came on midway through the season. Hank Bulla was quite a guy, awful coach. I think he only won 4 of the 21 games that when he was in Buffalo. But as bad a coach as he was even worse with the English language. He was the master of the malaprop. Yeah, he had some classics, and if you'll bear with me a second, I'd just like to mention a few of these. Like Yogi Berra, Bulla unintentionally entertained fans and reporters with humorous malaprops. He often praised his team's work ethic and talked about making decisions on the spur of the moment. After a loss to the Jets, he said a long pass play had taken the sails right out of our wind. On his team's progress, we keep beating ourselves, but we're getting better at it. And on the Bills' plans in the college draft that featured Bo Jackson and Napoleon McCallum, well, we've got that Jackson kid at Auburn and that Napoleon Bonaparte kid at Navy. So needless to say, none of us were sad when he was let go by Ralph Wilson. And as we all know, shortly after, Marv, I think, was 2-5 when he took over in '86, and then from '87 on, the Bills had a fantastic run, culminated by his retirement just a few weeks ago. There was another guy in the Bills that is no longer there, but was a guy the media loved, Fred Smerlas, the bear-like nose tackle, if you remember him. He was fantastic. His locker looked like one of my kids' rooms. I mean, he probably had rats in there by the time he cleaned it out when he left. But he was great. I mean, just a real personable guy, and even after win or lose, he had things to say to the media. You know, he never ducked out when it was time for the lights to come on. And here are a couple other of my favorites. On the lean years with Buffalo, Fred said, when we were 2-14, the only thing that showed up at Rich Stadium on Sundays were the snowflakes. And probably my favorite, on forcing William the Fridge Perry's first fumble during an exhibition game. Remember when the Fridge used to get in the backfield and run the ball? Fred said, quote, "When I saw the fat guy coming my way, I buried my head in his belly button. I didn't see daylight for 5 minutes." So, there have been some great Bills players over the years, as we all know. But I guess the guy that's right at the top of my list is a guy that I'm sure you guys are all very much aware of, Frank Reich. Quality human being, family man, Christian man. He had everything that you'd want, both in a football player and a man. Well, 5 years ago, just almost to the day, I think it was early January of '93, we all know what he did. and he'll be known for that for the rest of his life. Bills trailed 35-3 early in the third quarter. I had taken my notebook, closed it, threw it in my briefcase, started shaking hands with my reporting colleagues because I wasn't going to see them until July. No, seriously, and I wasn't the only one. Everybody did the same thing. They had no plans on doing anything the following week. So, and as we know, Frank led him to the biggest comeback in NFL history.
Yards from the center of the field. Adam Lingner ready to snap it back. It's 38 all. Bills can win it here. Reich puts it down. The kick is on the way, and it is good. And the Bills have won it. The Bills have won it. The Bills have won it. They win it 41-38. Incredible.
We're probably 20 years from now, those millions of people say they were there because the game wasn't sold out. It wasn't on TV, and the only way that you could see it is if you have somehow got video highlights of it, because it was, you know, people literally, this was interesting, people were literally climbing the fences because at halftime everybody evacuated. There was nobody there. And they, from what I understand, the fences, the chain link fences that stand probably 15 feet high, people were scaling the fences, and the security people couldn't keep up with the people that were climbing over the fence to get back to their seats.
When did you get a sense of what was happening?
Probably after the second touchdown in the second half. They scored one touchdown. That got them to 10 points. But after that, they got one more, and the luck went their way. I mean, that was just an incredible game. But what's interesting about that is not so much. I don't remember the game as much as what happened afterwards, and this is something that I feel badly that the average fan can't see. But adjacent to the Bills' locker room is a media room. Well, actually, it's a weight room that they clear out all the free weights, and the media, especially for playoff games, goes there because there just isn't enough room in the locker room to conduct interviews. So Frank Reich comes in after the game, and I happen to be standing right next to the podium, not more than a couple feet away. He steps up on the podium, and he pulls out this sheet of paper, on legal-size paper, with some notes on it. And he goes, "Guys, I'd be happy to answer any and all of your questions, but there's something I got to do first. Can you bear with me?" So he opens up this paper and starts reading it. And what it was lyrics to a Christian song written by Michael English, who was a Christian singer. And the lyrics went like this: "In Christ alone will I glory, though I could pride myself in battles won. I've been blessed beyond measure, and by his strength alone I overcome. Now I seek no greater honor than just to know him more, to count my gains but losses to the glory of my Lord." And you could have heard a pin drop after that, because sports writers are a pretty cynical group. And a lot of players like to thank God when they score a touchdown and when they hit a home run, but you wonder about their sincerity. There was not one person in that room that questioned Frank Reich's sincerity. And after the fact, Michael English probably gave him a hug and a kiss after that, because I know the sales of that CD and cassette just went through the roof because it was played all over Western New York. But what got me was that here was his chance to really be in the limelight, the crowning moment of his career. Nobody thought that Frank would be able to do it with Jim Kelly on the sideline, especially down that many points. And here was his chance to gloat. Frank didn't do that. And so he's one of my favorites all time, always will be.
Greatest comeback in NFL history, period. The Bills rallied from a 32-point third-quarter deficit to down the Oilers 41-38.
Things that I can never tell you that you ever experienced that are anything like that. Just, to hear the crowd just going crazy and just really being there when we needed them, not losing hope in us. The guys on the sidelines just, encouraging one another, saying, let's just stick together.
Reich's big plays were plentiful. Reich to Beebe. Reich to Reed. Reich to Reed again on 4th and 5. And the go-ahead score with 3:08 left. Another dart to Andre Reed. And while everyone around him was getting caught up in the emotion of this wild comeback, somehow Frank maintained his perspective.
What did your wife say to you?
We drove home listening to that song, "In Christ Alone."
Right.
And, honestly, just, weeping and just saying, "Lord, thank you."